Go back and forth and answer questions. The rule is not to answer questions until they're all answered, until they're all asked. But you choose to do that, and so for that you get other things. So handle that.
Mr. President, every single meeting you are advocating people to speak as long as they want and to have a back and forth exchange.
Who?
Suddenly tonight, when there was a difference in the audience, you were advocating the exact opposite. Somehow now it changed again. You need to be consistent, and your pattern is extremely obvious.
What is the pattern?
I would ask that the Board of Education of Lakewood please continue their meeting.
Well, I will continue when I address the issue. I just want it to be clearly understood, Mr. Silver, that when the first person came up, the last meeting we had, I attempted for us to have the back and forth. I think that's the best way to communicate with our public so that we are decent, honest, and we hear them and we responsive to them. But this board has stated clearly that they did not want, nor have we rewritten a policy to allow us to do so. So since we haven't, I attempted to enforce it, at which time several people chose to answer back and to respond accordingly. So that's where we are now.
Correct.
So you can't choose which part of it.
Mrs.
So
Thomas,
time may be one issue, but the way we answer it is also another. So don't come at me, with all this.
It was all within the 4 minutes, which we allow by almost every single meeting with 80% of the comments. This particular comment, this particular person, which I'm sorry.
Through the chair,
but Mrs.
Martin.
Listen,
Mrs. Martin,
we're going to move on.
Went way beyond the
I'm not even saying, but what I'm trying to get you to understand is you can't choose which part of a rule applies. The time is just as important as the way we answer the questions. So you set yourself up, and now you got to deal with it. Next person, please.
through the chair. Through the chair.
Recognition of the point. Yeah.
This is one reason why I advocate do away with all busing. God gave us feet, walk to school.
Oh, next. Recognition of the public, please. Next person.
James Waters.
Mr. Faith, I'm not a guy that you want to play wise guy games with. Because
Can you give your address, sir? I'm sorry.
James Waters, United States of America. And I am a citizen. My birth certificate, I don't need birthers to check it out. I'm going to tell you something, that school board ethics need to be looked at. And maybe we need to stop playing games and have an ethics panel look at how the board responds to the public. You guys are elected to represent the community and the children that are part of that community. I don't care what your political views are, your social attitudes are. Give the community some respect and you'll get more respect from the community. And people observe double standards. Let's not play that game in here. Let's try to be fair. People come in here with their complaints, whatever the complaints are, whether the left side of the room agrees with the right side of the room, they have a right to come in here and air them. And when you open up a can of worms and you've got to live with the bed that you make up. When you make up your bed, I don't know what the exact quote is, you got to sleep in it. The axe I find up there very appropriate on the Piner sign, since a lot of axing has been done in this room. That's my cynicism for the night. The Amistad curriculum that I've pushed, I'm interested in whether it's being taught in the school, and the State Education Committee for the NAACP is interested statewide in how that's being done. I would like to get in the school to see how it's being done in the classroom, and I'd like to know how that can be arranged. I'm interested in the grade school, the middle school, and the high school. And as we approach February, which is African American History Month, which happens to be the shortest month of the year. I won't even gripe about that tonight. I'm interested in how that's being done. The other thing that we've got to do is look at, from an ethics standpoint, board members leaking information to the community and how that's going to play on the morale of the total community. And I think whoever needs the finger pointed at them, they know who they are. And maybe a letter to the editor. I haven't written anything in a while with some names. Might be in order. I was a little bit embarrassed tonight that we had minutes being approved going all the way back to July. We've got to do better. I know we lost our secretary, but there's got to be a way of getting those minutes up to date in less time than 6 months. Oh, you can cut my time. How much time do I have?
3 minutes and 51 seconds.
3 minutes and 51 seconds? Well, I guess a few seconds to say Happy New Year to everybody.
Thank you.
And I'll be coming back to see you again.
Mr. Summerstein.
Mr. Orders.
Yaakov Summerstein, 2 Heckle Road, Hekel Road. Okay, basically I'm representing the neighborhood Regency Estates. It's a development on 9 South and Pine Boulevard. And what we're really requesting is that the Board of Ed send the buses in. We've had basically, I'd like to address 2 basic concerns. From 2 of them from the Board of Ed, and 1 of them as far as our concerns. One of the concerns that they had was that the cul-de-sac at the end wasn't large enough to accommodate the bus turning. So we've had Bill Coyle as well as Melanie Mayer come down, and they saw that the bus actually does have plenty of room to make the turn. And there are plenty of buses that are able to make the turn without having to back up. I might add, Nick was taking quite a beating, but I must say they make the turn without a problem. So that was the one thing. So that's one problem. Another problem was the concern made, with parked cars. The fact that we had cars parked there, so we have put up signs there, and we're very much on top of the situation. There are no more parked cars. There aren't any cars parked. The cul-de-sac is constantly open. That's as far as the concerns, as far as the Board of Ed was concerned. As far as our concerns, the place where the children are waiting is on the corner of Pine Boulevard on Route 9, River Avenue. It's a very busy corner. There's a doctor's office. Dr. Shanik has an office over there. There's also a veterinary hospital. So it's a very busy intersection with cars constantly making turns. In addition, there are 2 cars usually make the turn side by side, going towards River Avenue, one making a one right and left. So usually the people who are turning from River Avenue onto Pine have to make a turn very close to the curb. And we have so many kids on the curb at that time. The veterinary hospital made it very clear they don't want any kids on their property. Dr. Shannon doesn't want anyone on his property. We have a lot of kids on a very, very small sidewalk, especially now in the winter when there's snow and ice there. There's practically no room for them to stand. And there are kids, it's not theoretical, there are kids that have run into the middle of the River Avenue, and that's not a place where we want kids running into. Another thing issue, there's a little bit more of a humorous side in a way. The fact that there's a veterinary hospital, we do have animals coming, their dogs at times. There are kids that are quite scared to be standing out there. In fact, one of the kids they've had a dog run after him. So that's as far as that. And so that's basically it. There's really no question and answer. I don't have anything to think. We're just asking. And also, on a personal note, that I've seen personally from my neighbors, is that very often there's only one parent home at the time when the buses come, and sometimes you'll have to have a parent take out an entire family to wait for the bus. And I've seen personally in the dead of winter, a lady there with her infant, a little infant, a month-year-old, waiting there in the freezing cold. So we're asking, we're begging and pleading if the Board of Ed could please accommodate us and have the buses come in. And any other accommodations that have to be made as far as the development is concerned, we'd be glad to address and discuss them.
Thank you. Next.
Anaj